For too long, men have been taught that being nice is the key to success in life, at work, in relationships, and in society. But let me tell you a hard truth. Being nice is not the same as being good or strong. In fact, being overly nice can be your greatest weakness. When you constantly seek approval, avoid conflict, and suppress your own needs to please others, you are not being kind, you are being passive. And passivity is a silent killer of potential. A nice man says yes when he should say no. He tolerates disrespect to keep the peace. He avoids taking risks because he fears judgment. And in the end, he becomes frustrated, unfulfilled, and resentful. So today I challenge every man in this room. Stop being a nice man. Instead, be a strong, assertive, and purpose-driven man. A strong man respects himself enough to set boundaries. He speaks his mind, even when it's uncomfortable. He prioritizes his goals, knowing that self-respect comes before external validation. He is kind when kindness is deserved, but firm when it is necessary. A strong man respects himself enough to set boundaries. Too often, men who are labeled as nice struggle with saying no. They believe that by constantly accommodating others, they will be liked, accepted, and valued. However, this mindset leads to a life of exhaustion and frustration because they prioritize the needs of others over their own well-being. A strong man, on the other hand, understands that setting boundaries is not selfish, it is essential. Boundaries define what is acceptable and what is not. They establish a framework for how others should treat you and signal to the world that you respect yourself. Without clear boundaries, people will take advantage of your kindness, knowingly or unknowingly, and you will find yourself drained, unappreciated, and even resentful. A strong man is not afraid to say no, to walk away from toxic relationships, or to demand respect in both personal and professional settings. When a man lacks boundaries, he often allows others to dictate his time, energy, and decisions. He may feel guilty when he prioritizes himself, fearing that others will see him as rude or uncaring. But the reality is that those who truly respect and care for him will also respect his limits. Setting boundaries does not mean being harsh or unkind. It means having the courage to uphold one's self-worth. A man who respects himself does not allow others to guilt-trip him into commitments he does not want to make. He does not overextend himself for people who never reciprocate. He does not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or one-sided relationships. Instead, he stands firm, knowing that self-respect is more valuable than temporary approval. The ability to set boundaries transforms a man's life. It gives him the confidence to pursue his own ambitions without feeling weighed down by obligations that do not serve him. It allows him to cultivate relationships built on mutual respect rather than fear of rejection. And most importantly, it empowers him to take control of his own happiness rather than seeking it from external sources. He speaks his mind even when it's uncomfortable. One of the biggest problems with being overly nice is the fear of confrontation. Many men avoid difficult conversations because they worry about hurting others' feelings, causing conflict, or being judged. They suppress their true thoughts and opinions just to keep the peace, thinking that silence will help them maintain harmony in their relationships. But in reality, silence often leads to frustration, resentment, and a loss of self-respect. A strong man understands that his voice matters. He knows that staying silent when he has something important to say only weakens him in the long run. Whether it's in the workplace, in a relationship, or among friends, he refuses to hold back his thoughts out of fear. He values honesty over comfort and understands that true respect comes from being real, not from being agreeable. Speaking up doesn't mean being rude, aggressive, or disrespectful. It means expressing thoughts and feelings with confidence and clarity. It means having the courage to say what needs to be said, even when others might not want to hear it. A strong man is direct yet respectful, firm yet fair. He does not sugarcoat the truth to please others, nor does he water down his opinions just to fit in. When a man speaks his mind, he gains respect not only from others but also from himself. People may not always agree with him, but they will recognize his authenticity. They will see that he stands by his principles and does not allow himself to be silenced. This kind of integrity attracts the right people, those who appreciate honesty and strength rather than mere compliance. Holding back thoughts and opinions out of fear creates a cycle of internal struggle. It leads to missed opportunities, failed relationships, and a life spent conforming to others' expectations instead of pursuing one's own truth. A strong man refuses to live that way. He understands that it is far better to be disliked for being real than to be liked for being someone he is not. By speaking his mind, he commands attention, earns respect, and builds a life where he is valued for who he truly is, not for who others expect him to be. He prioritizes his goals, knowing that self-respect comes before external validation. Many men fall into the trap of living their lives based on what others expect of them. They make choices that please their family, friends, or society rather than pursuing what truly matters to them. They sacrifice their dreams, ambitions, and personal desires in exchange for approval. Over time, this leads to frustration, regret, and a sense of emptiness. A strong man refuses to live for the validation of others. He understands that no matter how much he tries to please people, he will never satisfy everyone. Instead of seeking approval, he focuses on his own vision for his life. He sets clear goals and works tirelessly to achieve them, regardless of what others think. Whether it's in his career, fitness, relationships, or personal growth, he remains committed to his path, knowing that his success and happiness depend on his own dedication, not on the opinions of those around him. When a man prioritizes his goals, he naturally filters out distractions. He does not waste time trying to fit in with people who do not align with his values. He does not feel the need to explain or justify his ambitions to those who doubt him. He recognizes that his energy is valuable, and he invests it only in things that contribute to his growth. This mindset allows him to stay focused and disciplined, even when faced with setbacks and criticism. Society often pressures men to conform, to play it safe, and to follow the path that is deemed acceptable. But a strong man does not let fear dictate his choices. He takes risks, embraces challenges, and pursues greatness without hesitation. He understands that failure is a part of success and that setbacks are temporary obstacles, not permanent defeats. He keeps pushing forward, knowing that his persistence will lead to long-term fulfillment. There will always be people who question or criticize his decisions. Some may call him selfish for focusing on his goals. Others may try to discourage him because they fear his growth will highlight their own lack of ambition. But a strong man does not allow negativity to derail him. He remains steadfast in his pursuit, knowing that self-respect comes from living life on his own terms, not from bending to the expectations of others. By prioritizing his goals, he builds a life of purpose and meaning. He wakes up each day with clarity, knowing that he is moving forward towards something worthwhile. He experiences a deep sense of fulfillment because he is in control of his own destiny, not merely following a script written by others. He is kind when kindness is deserved, but firm when it is necessary. Many men grow up believing that they must always be kind, no matter the situation. They are taught that being agreeable, accommodating, and always putting others first is what makes them good men. While kindness is a virtue, it should never come at the cost of self-respect. A man who gives kindness indiscriminately even to those who take advantage of him, ends up being used, overlooked, and drained. A strong man understands that kindness is valuable when given to those who appreciate it. He does not waste his energy on people who exploit his generosity or mistake his good nature for weakness. He recognizes that kindness is a choice, not an obligation. If someone repeatedly disrespects him, manipulates him, or fails to reciprocate his goodwill, he does not continue to extend kindness blindly. Instead, he sets firm boundaries and demands respect. Being firm is not the opposite of being kind, it is an extension of self-respect. A strong man knows when to stand his ground and when to walk away. He is not afraid to say no, to hold people accountable, and to demand fair treatment. He does not allow guilt, social pressure, or the fear of being disliked to dictate his actions. If someone crosses a line, he does not respond with passive tolerance, he asserts himself with confidence. Too many men believe that being firm means being cold or heartless, but this is a misconception. A strong man can be compassionate without being a pushover. He can help others without letting them walk all over him. He can show generosity without allowing himself to be exploited. He balances his kindness with the ability to be firm when necessary, ensuring that his goodwill is not mistaken for weakness. In relationships, at work, and in social settings, a man who is overly nice often finds himself in situations where his needs are neglected. He may be the friend who always listens but is never heard, the employee who takes on extra work without recognition, or the partner who gives endlessly without receiving the same in return. A strong man refuses to accept this dynamic. He treats others with respect but demands the same in return. If he does not receive it, he does not hesitate to walk away from relationships that do not serve him. By being kind when kindness is deserved and firm when necessary, a man commands respect. People understand that his kindness is genuine, not a desperate attempt to seek approval. They recognize that he is someone who values himself and does not tolerate mistreatment. This balance of kindness and strength allows him to maintain his dignity, protect his energy, and build meaningful relationships based on mutual respect rather than obligation. A strong man does not tolerate disrespect to keep the peace. Many men fall into the habit of tolerating disrespect because they fear conflict. They tell themselves that letting things slide is the best way to maintain peace, whether in friendships, relationships, or professional environments. They believe that avoiding confrontation will keep people happy and make them more likable. But the truth is, tolerating disrespect does not create peace, it creates silent resentment, weakens self-respect, and invites further mistreatment. A man who constantly allows others to walk over him sends a message that he does not value himself. When he stays quiet after being insulted, overlooked, or taken for granted, he teaches people that they can treat him however they like without consequences. Over time, this leads to a cycle where he is consistently disrespected, not because he deserves it, but because he has never drawn a line. His silence becomes permission for others to continue their behavior. A strong man understands that respect is non-negotiable. If someone speaks to him in a demeaning way, dismisses his opinions, or takes advantage of his kindness, he addresses it immediately. He does not let things slide for the sake of avoiding discomfort. He stands up for himself because he knows that his self-respect is more important than temporary harmony. He does not seek unnecessary conflict, but he is not afraid of it either. He confronts disrespect head-on, with calmness and confidence, making it clear that he will not accept being treated poorly. This principle applies in all areas of life. In the workplace, a strong man does not allow his contributions to be ignored or his efforts to be undervalued. If a colleague takes credit for his work, he speaks up, If his boss consistently overlooks his value, he does not tolerate it. He either demands the recognition he deserves or seeks opportunities elsewhere. He does not settle for being undervalued just because he wants to be seen as easygoing or cooperative. In relationships, he does not accept a dynamic where he is constantly giving while the other person takes. If his partner disrespects him, he does not make excuses for their behavior or hope that it will change on its own. He communicates his standards clearly, and if they are not met, he has the strength to walk away. He refuses to stay in relationships that drain him emotionally just because he fears being alone. He knows that real love is built on mutual respect, not one-sided effort. In friendships, he does not tolerate being the person who is only called upon when needed. He does not chase people who do not value his presence. If a friend disrespects him, ignores his needs, or takes him for granted, he does not stay silent to maintain the friendship. Instead, he sets boundaries or distances himself. He understands that a real friend respects his worth and treats him accordingly. By refusing to tolerate disrespect, a strong man gains the respect of those around him. He teaches people how to treat him by showing them what he will and will not accept. He does not waste energy on people who do not appreciate him and instead surrounds himself with those who value his presence. In doing so, he builds a life where he is not only respected by others, but, most importantly, respected by himself. He does not avoid taking risks because he fears judgment. Many men hesitate to take risks in life because they are overly concerned with what others might think. They fear being laughed at if they fail, criticized for making bold moves, or judged for stepping outside the norm. This fear keeps them stuck in their comfort zones, preventing them from chasing their ambitions, exploring new opportunities, and fully realizing their potential. However, a strong man understands that fear of judgment is a trap, one that only holds him back from the success and fulfillment he deserves. When a man is driven by the opinions of others, he becomes paralyzed. He overanalyzes every decision, worrying about whether people will approve of his choices. He avoids pursuing dreams that seem unconventional, not because he lacks the ability to succeed, but because he is afraid of failing in front of an audience. He stays in unfulfilling jobs, relationships, and routines simply because they feel safe and accepted by society. Over time, this leads to deep frustration, a lack of personal growth, and a life filled with regret. A strong man refuses to let fear dictate his actions. He understands that every great achievement requires risk, and that no one who ever accomplished anything meaningful did so without stepping outside their comfort zone. He embraces challenges, knowing that failure is simply part of the process of growth. He does not see setbacks as personal defeats, but as lessons that will make him stronger and more resilient. Instead of worrying about how others will perceive him, he focuses on his own vision and moves forward with confidence. In career and business, risk-taking is essential for advancement. A man who plays it safe will never reach his full potential. Whether it's asking for a promotion, starting a business, switching careers, or pursuing a passion, every bold move requires the willingness to face uncertainty. A strong man understands that taking calculated risks is the only way to achieve something greater. He does not wait for the perfect moment. Because he knows that perfection does not exist, he takes action despite uncertainty. In relationships, fear of judgment can cause men to settle for less than they deserve. Some men stay in unhappy relationships because they worry about what people will say if they leave. Others hesitate to approach someone they're interested in because they fear rejection. But a strong man does not let embarrassment or fear of failure dictate his love life. He takes chances, knowing that rejection is not the end of the world. He understands that the only way to find true happiness is to take risks, even if it means facing temporary setbacks along the way. Even in personal growth, taking risks is necessary. Whether it's moving to a new city, learning a new skill, traveling alone, or making major lifestyle changes, a strong man embraces the unknown. He is not afraid to reinvent himself, step into new environments, or challenge himself in ways that make him uncomfortable. He knows that growth only happens outside the comfort zone, and he refuses to live a life of stagnation. By overcoming the fear of judgment, a strong man gains the freedom to live life on his own terms. He stops seeking permission from others and starts trusting his own instincts. He learns that the opinions of others do not define him, his actions, courage, and determination do. He understands that the biggest risk in life is not taking any at all, and he refuses to let fear hold him back from achieving his full potential. He keeps pushing forward, knowing that self-respect comes from perseverance, not approval. Many men fall into the trap of seeking validation from others to feel worthy. They look for approval from family, friends, co-workers, and even strangers before they believe in themselves. This need for external validation weakens their resolve, making them dependent on others' opinions rather than their own inner strength. But a strong man understands that self-respect is not given by others, it is built through perseverance, discipline, and the refusal to quit when things get tough. Life is full of obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt. Many men give up too soon, not because they lack the ability to succeed, but because they become discouraged by criticism or lack of immediate results. They allow setbacks to define them rather than using them as fuel to keep going. A strong man, however, does not measure his worth by how many people approve of his journey. He keeps pushing forward, even when no one is watching, even when there is no applause, and even when the path ahead is uncertain. Perseverance is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity. A strong man understands that every successful person has faced moments of doubt, failure, and rejection. The difference is that successful men do not let those moments stop them. They learn from their mistakes, adapt, and keep moving forward. They know that nothing worthwhile comes easy, and they refuse to let temporary setbacks define their future. In his career, a strong man does not quit when faced with challenges. If he starts a business and it struggles, he does not give up. He finds solutions, learns new skills, and adapts his strategy. If he is working toward a promotion and is overlooked, he does not let that discourage him. Instead, he works harder, improves his skills, and positions himself as indispensable. He does not expect instant success, nor does he let failure break his spirit. He understands that long-term success is built through resilience and unwavering commitment to his goals. In his personal life, a strong man does not crumble under pressure. If he experiences heartbreak, he does not wallow in self-pity or let rejection destroy his confidence. He processes the pain, learns from it, and moves forward stronger than before. If he faces financial struggles, he does not blame the world or give up. He finds ways to improve his situation, whether through education, new opportunities, or disciplined financial habits. He understands that challenges are temporary, but his ability to push through them defines his character. Even in the face of criticism, a strong man does not seek approval at the cost of his dreams. There will always be people who doubt him, discourage him, or try to bring him down. But he does not let their words dictate his path. He stays focused on his mission, knowing that his self-respect comes from his ability to keep going despite the noise. He understands that true strength is built not in easy times, but in the moments when he chooses to stand firm when everything around him is telling him to quit. By refusing to give up, he earns a sense of self-respect that no amount of external validation can provide. He proves to himself that he is capable, strong, and worthy not because others say so, but because he has shown it through his actions. Through perseverance, he builds a life that is not dictated by the opinions of others, but by his own determination, effort and belief in himself. He values himself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves him. Too many men stay in situations that drain them, whether it's a toxic relationship, an unfulfilling job, or a one-sided friendship, because they fear change, loneliness, or the unknown. They convince themselves that enduring discomfort is better than facing uncertainty. They tolerate mistreatment, neglect their own happiness, and settle for less than they deserve, all because they are too afraid to let go. But a strong man refuses to live this way. He understands that walking away is not a sign of weakness, it is an act of self-respect. A strong man recognizes when something is no longer serving his growth, peace, or happiness. He does not allow his past investment of time, effort, or emotions to trap him in a situation that no longer aligns with his values. He understands that life is too short to waste on things that deplete him. If a relationship is filled with constant conflict, disrespect, or indifference, he does not beg for change, he leaves. If a job is suffocating his ambitions and preventing him from reaching his full potential, he does not remain stuck, he takes action to find something better. If friends do not reciprocate his loyalty and effort, he does not chase them, he walks away and surrounds himself with people who truly value him. Walking away is difficult, especially when emotions are involved. Many men cling to unhealthy situations because they fear being alone, starting over, or being judged for their decision. They tell themselves that things might improve, that they should just endure a little longer, that leaving would mean failure. But a strong man knows that staying in the wrong situation is the real failure. He understands that his well-being comes first, and that sometimes the hardest choices are the most necessary. In relationships, a strong man does not tolerate being an option when he should be a priority. He does not beg for love, affection, or respect. If his partner is emotionally unavailable, toxic, or unwilling to grow alongside him, he does not stay in the hope that things will magically change. He communicates his needs, but if they are ignored, he does not hesitate to walk away. He understands that a man who respects himself does not settle for half-hearted love or one-sided effort. In his career, he does not remain in a job that makes him miserable simply because it provides stability. He values personal growth, fulfillment, and financial independence. And if his current path does not align with his goals, he seeks better opportunities. He takes calculated risks, educates himself, and makes strategic moves to create a life he is proud of. He does not let fear of failure keep him chained to a situation that drains him. In friendships, he does not tolerate being used, manipulated, or disrespected. He does not allow himself to be the person who is always giving while others only take. If a friendship feels one-sided or toxic, he lets it go without guilt. He understands that real friendships are based on mutual support and respect, not obligation or history. By walking away from anything that no longer serves him, a strong man makes space for better things to enter his life. He does not waste energy trying to fix things that are beyond his control. He focuses on his own growth, happiness, and peace of mind. He understands that letting go is sometimes the most powerful decision he can make because it allows him to reclaim his time, energy, and self-worth. A strong man understands that his time, energy, and self-respect are too valuable to be wasted on things that diminish him. He does not seek approval at the cost of his dignity. nor does he sacrifice his own well-being to please others. He is not afraid to take risks, set boundaries, and walk away when necessary. He knows that true strength is not about being agreeable or constantly seeking validation. It is about standing firm in his values, pursuing his goals relentlessly, and demanding the respect he deserves. In the end, being a strong man is not about being unkind or ruthless. It is about having the courage to put himself first when needed. It is about choosing self-respect over blind obedience, growth over stagnation, and inner strength over external validation. The world does not reward those who are merely nice, it respects those who are confident, decisive, and unafraid to live life on their own terms. So stop being just a nice man. Be a strong man, a man who commands respect, stands his ground, and refuses to settle for less than he deserves. Because in the end, the only approval that truly matters is the one you give yourself.